Hey, there's a new resource we want to share with you about here. We don't do this very often, but it's a great opportunity. So there's a lot of great people around the country that are doing EFT intensives, and they're fantastic. I don't have the time or the bandwidth to go through all of them, but I do want to share some local ones in Arkansas that are doing incredible work. We have a team of EFT supervisors, certified folks, and they do co-therapy EFT. And I'll tell you what, I've sent a couple or two, and I get fantastic feedback. So there's 3 or 4 different teams that do intensives in Northwest Arkansas. This is a great resource. A lot of therapists bring their partners and come do this. And I can't recommend this highly enough. And so if you'd like to hear more about that, you can email intensives@thejoshuacenter.com, intensives@thejoshuacenter.com.
All right. I'd like to also just remind you again about coming up this September 11th through the 13th of 2025, the SV Focus Lab. And now we've even dialed it in some more. We're going to be focusing on pivoting in the therapeutic process. And so we want you to come and enjoy this time of learning with the whole SV team and also having some fun time to hang out here in Northwest Arkansas. You can go sign up through successinvulnerability.com. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Leading Edge in Emotionally Focused Therapy with your hosts, Dr. James Hawkins and Dr. Ryan Rana. EFT is a dynamic model that humbles even the most seasoned therapists. Together, we want to come alongside you as you continually push the leading edge of your understanding and application of this wonderful model developed by Dr. Sue Johnson.
All right, good to be back with you all. Last episode, we talked about building the bridge into stage 2. Ryan and I took some time to talk about whether it's informed consent type stuff. I appreciate hearing Ryan's
Platforms,
building that platform before every session. Today, though, what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit more deep down. We're going to go into stage 2. But before we get into that, I just want to help you, whether you're an EFTer, this is a review for you. If you're not an EFTer, in stage 2 for us in EFT, this is a place where we talk about restructuring the bond. And specifically what we're saying with that is restructuring the bond. And what we're trying to do is get the person who has been somewhat disengaged or withdrawn with their heart in the relationship, not coming forth with their vulnerability in their needs because they're relying on pretty much just self-regulation. We want to invite them to re-engage with themselves so that way they can then re-engage with their partner. So we always start stage 2 with the most withdrawn partner or the partner who demonstrates more of the withdrawer tendencies. Then after we've done a couple of rounds of that, we do work with the pursuing or the anxious kind of style from Bowlby's work. We want the pursuer to rely less on kind of coming forward with what could feel like an anxious or critical energy to soften their approach, to not give up on it, but to be able to come forward with more of leading with their heart versus what could feel like sometimes sharp criticism. And we do that to create a new positive cycle that the more the withdrawer is able to re-engage, it allows the pursuer to have more space to soften. And as the pursuer softens, it also allows the withdrawer more space to engage. To do that, we have 3 steps that you do over and over with the relationship to help them be able to do that. We call those step 5, 6, and 7. Step 5 is about going down into going into the basement of the pain and fear. Intrapsychic. That's right. This is the most intrapsychic part of EFT, because now we want to access from in that well of pain. What do you say about you? Or what are the messages that the cycle tells you about you that you now, and even if it's not you believe it, or no, I'm sorry, not that you say it, but you begin to believe it. Mm-hmm. Ryan talks about the deadly attachment messages that come for you, and he's working with those all in stage 1, but now in stage 2, what happens when you begin to believe you're unlovable, you're too much, you're not enough? And we want to access that in step 5 to then go to step 6, where we would promote partner acceptance. And when we say acceptance is, the cycle has been telling the person that because you are this way, you are unlovable or incapable of getting the love you want. What we want to give, and you tell me how you feel about this wording, Ryan, what I want them to get is something that battles the message of the negative cycle. And the most powerful person that can give it to them is their partner. For the partner to say, not that I don't see you that way, but to say, even when you have those messages, when those fears come, when that pain comes, you don't have to hide that from me. I can accept that pain. I can accept that fear, and I'm willing to be with you. Because what the negative cycle says is you cannot be loved when this is present. No one should be allowed to see this, which sucks. And that keeps them stuck in the cycle. But even with that acceptance, that's great therapy, by the way. And that's life-changing work. But we want to really stay there and finish out attachment completely. And even when you do find yourself, and even now that you know your partner can accept you, something the cycle normally doesn't ever let you have a chance to do is to ask for what you need when you're in that place. So can we just slow down and be curious? And maybe just listen to your body as you feel that deep pain in your gut. If your partner could be with that deep pain in your gut, what might bring comfort in that place? What could they do or say right here, right now? Not last week, not in the future episode, right here, right now. How could they comfort you right here? And then that would be our step 7. So 5 is an intrapsychic look at the view of self and the pain around that. 6 is promoting that acceptance. 7 is reaching for need. And we're going to talk about even like a little half step in between about working with reluctance. So that's my quick overview. You have anything on that, Ryan?
Just adding on that deeper work, we're also looking at deepest attachment fears. So fear of reaching. So, I was with Jim Furrow one time who said that's the most important question in all of EFT is when you're in this bad place, something keeps you from reaching for your partner. We need to know what that is. So looking at fear of reaching is a major target. Everything else you said was beautiful. Good job.
No, man, Jim, by the way, if you're going to get advice on stage 2 from anybody, Jim Furrow is a great person to get it from. Encyclopedia Jim. Yeah. So I want to back up. So today's episode for today, though, we're going to focus on that step 5, going into the intrapsychic world of the partner here. And Ryan, I want to lead in. There's a concept I've heard Ryan talk about, and I've not understood his application of it, but I like it because I think it builds a bridge into today around the deadly attachment messages. Can you tell a little bit about that in stage 1? And I liked how you said it before we hit recording, and then how you bring that into stage 2.
Okay. You threw me a curveball there. I didn't think you were doing that.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Hold on a second. I'm going to make a note so I don't forget to do that. Well, before I answer that, I want to say thank you to our listeners.
Oh, I forgot about
specifically around one area. You are people who want to know. And we're going to talk about deep stuff today. And there's a certain amount of courage that it takes to say, I'm going to go in the dark, and no matter how bad this gets, I'm coming. And that is a huge thing. I had an old professor who was not EFT, sort of, he kind of was. And he would challenge us. This is back in the days when people were a little more resilient than it seems like they are today. But anyway, he would just be like, I need you to ask yourself right now, do you want to know? This is master's level counseling training back in the 90s. Do you want to know? Do you really want to know? And because the implication is not everybody does want to know. And you can hurt people that way. Because I know in my PTSD research, what you find is that a lot of people want to talk about their hard things, and the therapist kind of can't contain it and will change the subject or something. So I just want to say thank you because you're people who want to know, or you wouldn't be listening. And that's half the battle to show up. So
that sounds like a G.I. Joe opening, and knowing is half the battle.
That's right.
No, I agree with Ryan. I do challenge people. It's because I think to be a therapist, it reminds me when I was a nurse. Nurses want to bring comfort in really alleviation of pain. But some of the procedures we do have to invoke pain in order for you to get better. And I think when I first started trying to do stage 2 work, and as I ask these probing questions and I see them walking towards their fear, my body wants to tighten up and almost reverse around and like protect them from it. But here's the thing that's hard. That's the very thing that got them to where they are. It's protecting from being able to go and look at that fear from a vulnerable standpoint. So I know for EFT therapists, I know my body goes through something to hold that space of saying, I can see that this is bringing you discomfort, but I also know on the other side is the hope for your healing. So thank you for holding that space in that tentative spot.
Yeah, well said. Okay, so we're going to do a whole episode on this. We referenced it before, I think. And but this idea of another acronym, D.A.M., which stands for Deadly Attachment Message. So it's not a vulgar word. Don't tell my mom. But deadly attachment message. I mostly feature this in stage 1. I guess you could feature it wherever you want to. But what I'm talking about here is in affect assembly. right? If you go back to the original, that's second appraisal, which is how people construct a meaning of an experience. And then in tempo, it's the M. So what I noticed, though, over the years, which is where this came from, is when someone has a very strong protective action move, a tendency that's just awful. You know, it's like, how could you say that? Or it's like, man, I cannot get this person to move. They are very, very stuck. So the stronger, this is stage 1, by the way, so we're taking a step back before we go back into stage 2. The stronger or bigger their protection move, the worse the deadly attachment message is. So when I'm using affect assembly and I say, yeah, when your partner cuts their eyes, what message does it send to you about how they see you? And oftentimes what I found is the first thing they tell you is not the damn. They're like, I'm in trouble, or they're mad at me. And I've learned to linger there just a little bit longer. Reuse that trigger one more time. So just hold on and make sure I get it. You see your partner cut their eyes, and it sends you a message. It seems like it sends something a little bit dark. What's the worst message that you might get when your partner cuts their eyes? And oftentimes they say things like, they think I'm completely annoying, or they think I'm stupid. I'm worthless to them. Like, and the partner's like, what? I never said anything like that, right? But that's a deadly attachment message. Like that, you kind of can't survive that. At some level, we have to revise that, or that person's going to stay in protection. And so what I've found is 2 things. One, the stronger the protection is, the worse that dam is. And then number 2, if I can really get to the deadliest of the attachment message, I don't have to go fishing for emotion, because the pain is right there. Right. So that's what I talk about with deadly attachment message. Is that what you want me to say?
Yep. And then I liked when we were talking about that. Then I said, well, how is that different for you in stage 2? And the line that you said that got me, because I've used this frame, is not only is it a message that comes out for them in stage 1 that's externalized, in stage 2 it's, and where do you start to believe it?
Yeah. Yeah. And even tracking that back to stage 1, usually the deadly attachment message has both interpersonal and intrapsychic roots. So in other words, man, I think about a client who just finished stage 2. Took a long time, a lot longer than I wanted to. And it was a hetero couple, and the deadly attachment message for her was that her partner thought she was stupid. He never said that, but she did. Every time I would get into that assembly and I would hover there a little bit longer, here it would come. He thinks I'm stupid. He thinks I'm incompetent. And that was a part of their interpersonal cycle, but it also had roots in her history, right? She had some learning challenges. Her parents weren't very respectful. Her parents were really kind of treated her poorly. So see, there was already a sensitivity there. And then her partner's protected move, it's just like this lovely intersection of hell for her, right? And so the more I could understand that, then it really helped me drop into the pain that existed for her in stage 1. In stage 2, it helped me stay in that pain and really track out what all happens there for her.
All right. So thank you for that. And so let me go back.
So to the point, your point, in stage 2, what we're finding is she already believed that.
There we go.
And that's that negative model of self. She was scared to death this might be true. And so then stage 1, she's working so hard to not be seen that way. The very thing she does to make it better makes it worse. In stage 2, finally we can call off the dogs and be like, okay, so this is in this darkest of places. Here's what this voice tells you. Something like that.
Now, I know some of you might be listening to Ryan saying, Ryan, I'm so sorry you had to take that long path to get there. I'm better than you, Ryan.
Probably are.
And it's right. And I'm going to get there quicker. I'm just going to deal with it in stage 1. Okay. But just catch what Ryan just said. It's a deadly attachment message. In stage 1, the protective strategy, the dogs that are protecting that message are too strong and too many. Stage 1 is about clearing the path to be able to take an open look at that from a place of curiosity and vulnerability. And with some of that protection de-escalated or stabilized, now we can go into stage 2. So can you take me to that place that despite your best efforts, and you do all that you can to either go away from this place or to get ahead of this place. But even despite your best efforts, you keep ending up in the same place over and over and over and over. And what do you start? Like, everybody else might think when you go away that it's Disneyland for you. You're out in that garage having a good time, listening to your vinyl record player. But no, I don't think that's what it's like for you. Can you tell me what starts happening to you out in that garage? And I want to get all those kind of like, and what do you, and not only just the messages they hear, but what's it like when you start believing it? Mm-hmm. What do you even say to yourself? And then I've got to give Rebecca Jorgensen some credit here because she helped me with this. And if this is true, that you're just stupid and you can't ever figure it out, what does that mean for this relationship?
There you go.
And then that would be, you've got the catastrophic attachment fear.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to get in stage 2, step 5. Mm-hmm. But it takes some time. And let me give you this real quick. So, part of why we're doing this series, we just want to help EFTers who are going for this just get a little bit more cleaner and clearer. The best example I have that helped me learn, I just got to see the session today, is a George Fowler stage 2 pursuer softening tape where he's working with a pursuer. And what I learned from watching George's work, and I want to give Leanne Campbell, I've gotten to see some of her stage 2 work, is in that step 5, it's a very repetitive process of kind of being able to work with it. George says working with it in waves of experience. Mm-hmm. So he starts off with, you had the fight and you tried to prevent it. That didn't work. Then not only did it not work, you're blamed for why it went bad. You see how I'm going through the levels, y'all? And not only are you blamed, this goes to what Ryan is saying, you begin to believe it. You begin to say some of those same messages. If I was just smarter, if I was just better, if I was just enough, if was it in the South, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. There you go. Straight from Arkansas, everybody. But anyway, and not only that, when these messages come for you that says you're stupid and that's why you are where you are, what is that even like? Whew. And then George and Leanne, they just have an ability to sit in that pocket, to get all the darkness exposed and the scene so clear, to then invite the person with this very vulnerable view of self. And this is what Ryan and I are going to go to is can you turn and can you share this? And the reason why we're doing that from an EFT perspective, you all, at least I want to hear Ryan's thoughts on this. This is what I tell people. And I'll tell you, if I'm going to be transparent, this is some of my own personal work in my life. Because as long as that lie gets to remain, or the imposter or whatever, the belief of it, then I'll always have to erect some kind of system to protect it from being discovered. But if it has a chance to be exposed, and I like this is where I appreciate you haven't used this, Ryan helped introduce a word back into my vocabulary. If that part of you can be exposed, accepted, and comforted, then I no longer need the protections to go around it. The way I say is now life becomes free for me. Because a deadly attachment message that now is not only a message that comes for me, the one I've believed about me has been proven untrue experientially in a real life relationship moment. Or also, y'all can go back to the episode we did on here with Catherine Ream. The way I liked how Catherine Ream talks about step 5 is you have to have deep limbic experience if you're going to have deep limbic revision. Mm-hmm. If you don't go towards these deadly attachment messages, then the limbic system won't have a chance to be revised to say, we can handle this. The limbic system will always say, I can handle it up to this point. Right. And it will try to survive. Or as we go back to your old systemic training, it will try and find a state of homeostasis. What's easy, what's survivable, what can we keep the same? And so that's why we have to do this in step 5. And sometimes EFTers either one, don't get the deadly attachment message, so which leaves it to kind of be hidden in the darkness, or they try and get it from a purely cognitive place without having that deep limbic experience to allow it to somewhat come out organically. Because if I ask you about your fear when you're outside of it, I'm going to get a different experience of it than if I ask you about your worst fear when you're actually in it. I don't know. That's a little bit of my take on step 5.
I like it. Just some additions for me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to confuse anyone. So this catastrophic fear concept, mm-hmm. it's valuable in stage 1 and in stage 2.
Yep.
And I think I don't want to be too lock any concepts in because it's fluid. But typically speaking, stage 1 deals with a lot of negative model of other, right? And in stage 2, a lot of negative model of self. So in stage 1, that deadly attachment message is a form of exploration of negative model of other. Like, you see me as fundamentally stupid. And that's deadly, because if that's the bottom line, that's how you see me, we don't have a future, right? And if that's true, right? And so, and of course, they never say these things until we explore it. But in stage 2, it's similar, but now it is, I'm choosing to let you see, I do think I'm stupid.
There we go.
Right? I've been afraid of that the whole time, even though I just defended it. But now that we're safe together, or becoming safer together, and restructuring this whole new cycle, I need you to know that's what I really fear, is that maybe there's something about me that's not so great, not so lovable, not smart enough. My favorite withdrawal term is, I feel gross about me. Right? Unlovable, inadequate, small, fat, skinny, whatever these horrible, deep attachment fears are, now we're going for them. Which is why a lot of stage 2, I love what Leanne does. I love to set a scene.
Yeah.
So instead of just interviewing a person about what's happening with them, like to enter a place, maybe when they were in a very vulnerable time in their life. I've done whole stage 2 work off of a loft one time, under tables, as little girls when they're hiding in closets, whatever it may be. And, stage 2, the difference is, stage 1, we're trying to jump in the pool of pain that sits below that cycle. And we'll stay as long as they can. But we understand in stage 1, they often can't. Stage 2 is like a hot tub. We're going to get there and hang out for 20 minutes. And this is going to be a full immersion. So we're going to immerse deeply into their greatest fears. And it's going to be experiential. So this isn't a question and they answer. There's no summarizing in stage 2. They should be reaching for words. There should be a lot of nonverbal congruencies. It's a full immersion. We're going to walk circles and circles and circles with them to find all the painful areas that they've had to hide. They have to disown these parts of themselves to survive this cycle and this pain. And now we're going back for it. Because if the partner can show up and love this person in this dark of a place, they're loved. Now their protection system can calm down. They can take down 50, 60, 70%, which really allows the new bond to come in. So when I do core skills, I have people get up out of their chair and walk around the room 5 or 6 times to experientially sort of symbolize what stage 2 is going to look like in step 5. We're just going to do circles and circles and circles in their greatest painful, fearful area, recollecting these disowned needs and disowned parts of self that they had to get rid of.
Thank you, Ryan. In that segment right there, y'all, that's a lot of good language to help locate and cast vision. We got to let Ryan slip out of the studio. But before we end, I want to give you something. I don't like, me and Ryan, and I think George too, we don't like always giving y'all like numbers and stuff like that to get you locked in. But I remember when I was watching George's work with jaw re-engagement and pursuer softening, he sat in step 5 just deepening and accessing for about 38 minutes each time. And the reason I'm telling you, I don't think that's a legal term like you have to go lock into. But what I'm going is you just got to be patient. You can't just ask one question. All of a sudden your client's like, oh, that's what you want? I believe I'm stupid, and because I'm stupid, I'm unlovable. You don't want it that way. That's not how stage 2 kind of comes across.
Yes.
You have to be willing to say, so help me out again. So I'm really getting a picture of what it's like for you. These are the deadly messages that come. And I'm going to go to Sue on this one. You probably have to do some round of assembling that experience and scene about 5 really good times before they really just let you sit down.
Each session.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly, Ryan. Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
So my main hope I wanted to give to you all is, one, when you get into 5, go for the pain. Follow that fear into that place. And don't be afraid to ask them, and what's the worst possible? What do you start to believe about you here? And when they say it, I'm going to say this to you, it's going to feel mean. In a way, you need to say it back out loud so they can experience. So hold on. I remember I was watching one supervisor, they were doing great work, and the withdrawer said, I'm just a piece of trash on the side of the road that no one should pay attention to. And it feels horrible to say that, but so let me make sure I get this. This is what you've gone through in life? That when you don't get it all figured out, you're no better than a piece of trash on the side of the road that everyone should just pass by? Damn. Mm-hmm. Whew. Thank you for exposing that. Because now I see your partner looking, and their eyes aren't saying they're looking past you. Their eyes are saying, by the way, I'm not going to tell you anymore. We got a lesson for setting you up for coming back for the next episode.
But I want to comment on what you're doing right there. Yeah. That's use of self.
That's right.
Which, bringing it full circle here, James, what that says is I'm willing to go here.
Yes.
I want to know. I can lean into how horrific this is for you, and I can stay put. I can keep my non-anxious presence with you, and I can look the darkness in the eye, which gives them confidence. And that's half
right.
the battle.
I'm going to say this. This is going to be my walk-off quote, and it came from Leanne Campbell today in the SV Live when she said, the reason why I build a scene is so I can viscerally walk into the scene with my client to help them work in it and through it. Y'all, Leanne smiles, and she is a very nice human being. But that is, I'm telling you, I never played football organized. Ryan can speak to this one maybe more, but I'm like, I'd want to go put on pads and go hit someone on the line with Leanne Campbell with that kind of statement, right?
She's pretty tough.
So you all, I hope you can, and I want to thank you, just as Ryan said, thank you for embodying that, to say, I will walk into it with you, to walk you through it. We appreciate you, and keep pushing your leading edge so you can help push the leading edge with your clients in these stage 2 places.
Thank you for listening. We hope this experience helps you push the leading edge in your work to help people connect with themselves and with each other. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. You can contact us at pushtheleadingedge@gmail.com, and you can follow us on our Facebook page at Push the Leading Edge. You can follow Ryan on Facebook at Ryan Rana Professional Training, and on his website, ryanranatraining.com. You can follow James on Facebook and Instagram at DocHawkLPC. You can also check out his website, dochawklpc.com.